Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you're watching in the world, welcome along to the pinnacle of the calendar. It's the Monaco Grand Prix for the Apex Online Racing Hype Energy F1 League here on the PlayStation 4. It's the ultimate test of precision, the art of car control, and the barriers are never more than just a few inches away. My name is Kieran McGinley, and joining me in the commentary box, the first time really since the AOR Christmas Cup all the way back in 2018, it's the lovely, the fantastic Mr. Luke Etheridge. Luke, how are you tonight?
I'm very well, thanks. It's a pleasure to be back in the commentary box for you, Kieran. Hopefully, we'll have some fantastic action around Monaco. Yes, it's not necessarily the easiest circuit to overtake on, and I always think in real F1, the race might not be great, but one thing you can guarantee at Monaco is it is probably the best qualifying on the calendar. The drivers pushing flat out, inches away from the wall, and with how close this grid is, this is going to be a fascinating qualifying and race.
Yes, it is, and it's the critical qualifying, the most crucial qualifying session of the season. It is really a qualifying session where it can make or break your entire night. Those 18 minutes are going to be so crucial here, and, well, yourself and myself, Luke, we've used plenty of flashbacks when we've been using my team, but there's none of that here tonight. The drivers have only got one shot at this.
Yeah, and the important thing with that is, at most other tracks we always say, get a bank lap in early. Here, you really have to, because if you make a slight mistake at some other tracks, yes, you'll invalidate your lap. Yes, you might dirty up your tyres. You make a slight mistake here, you're off in the harbour joining Kimi Räikkönen on his boat if you get it slightly wrong, or you're crashing through the walls of the casino. You have got to be so careful, but also you can't afford to give any time up. Like I said, it is extremely close. No second chances. One slight mistake, one tiny little lock-up, which is easily done once the tyres start getting worn. If you're a bit too heavy with your right foot, you're in the barrier and it's game over.
Yeah, and it's just so good to watch these cars go round the circuit here, and it gives us that really good edge to just see how far they can push it, how hard they push it as well. And one driver we need to talk about is one of the drivers in the Alpha Tauri. It is Guil. Now, he's in sensational form. Now, he's been saying all this time, oh, it's luck. I've just been lucky. There's a certain point where luck does not mean you get every single podium since the Bahrain Grand Prix with a win in Vietnam. There's 3 second places, a win and a third place last time out of the Spanish Grand Prix. There's got to be a point where he can't say that's just good luck anymore when he heads into Monaco.
I've seen him in a few other leagues as well, so unless he's getting lucky in every single league that he's doing, there's a lot more than luck involved for Guil. Fantastic, as you said. In Australia, it didn't go to plan there, finishing down in 13th, but he got the fastest lap, showed that he had a bit of pace, and yeah, never off the podium since then. Fantastic performance, and after Blizzard's connection issues last week, Guil taking full advantage, didn't get the victory, but he is leading the championship into Monaco, and he'll be wanting to lead at the end of tonight, going into the first week break.
Yeah, and it's I'm glad you've mentioned Blizzard, because he's the one I wanted to talk about next. He's had 2 wins so far this season, but with that retirement at the Spanish Grand Prix, mainly down to his connection issues that he had during the race. He disconnected twice before he decided to throw in the towel and call it a night when he realised that points weren't really on the cards. He lies in second place, 9 points off the championship lead. That's not a bad position to be in before the week break we've got coming up.
No, definitely, and where Blizzard's strength has been, like you said, he's won 2 races. He's had pole position at half the races so far this season. If you can match that tonight, obviously, that puts you in a fantastic position to take the victory around this circuit. So he'll be fairly happy with how it's gone so far. In China, perhaps getting a bit caught out with the strategy, as did a few others, and that was when his teammate Liam took his first victory of the season and first victory in AOR F1, but I definitely think those two, it's very early days yet. Even after tonight, we've still got 15 races to go all across the world before we end in Abu Dhabi in, I believe, February time. A lot could go wrong for all the drivers, but Blizzard and Guil just look like the ones who are most likely to have a really good championship battle. And then you've got other drivers, like I mentioned, Liam. Domi's not done too bad. Aero's shown some good form. Let's not forget he wasn't here for the first race. There's a lot of quick drivers that could really show their hand, but I think tonight they'll all be wanting to put in a good performance just to give themselves a bit of a confidence boost going into the next round of races, because let's not forget, when they come back, they've got another street circuit at Azerbaijan, another extremely difficult track.
Yeah, and that'll be on the 1st of November. So, of course, we have the week break after the Monaco Grand Prix, which, to be honest with you, we'll all need a bit of a week break after this Monaco Grand Prix, with 39 laps incoming for this race. If I've got my maths right, which hopefully I have. It's not my strong point, maths, but when I get it right, I'm very happy. There's one person as well, Domi, in the Haas. Now, he started off this season with a win in Australia, hit a little bit of hot and cold form, but in his last 2 races at the Netherlands, he got 3rd place. The Spanish Grand Prix, he got 2nd place. Well, to that trend, we all love a pattern. Could it be a win for him today here at Monaco?
It could very well be. Some people do class Australia as a bit of a street circuit, so Vietnam, he got a podium as well. Not doing too bad, but it really has been podium or bust for him. Like you said, he's either been on the podium or got no points whatsoever, and that lack of consistency over a season could cost you. He could still become top of the championship by the end of tonight if he wins and Gwil and Blizzard have a bit of a bad race. He could still end up leading the championship, but I'm sure he'll be hoping to put in a good performance tonight. Like I said, as will everyone. He needs to just sort out that consistency. When things aren't going his way, just needs to pick up them odd points here and there, because we've seen before in real F1 and in AOR, championships at the end of the season can be decided by only 1 or 2 points, which I know sounds crazy over such a long season, but it's happened before. We've got no reason to believe that couldn't happen again.
Yes, that's a really important element to take away as well, and it ain't over till it's over. And of course, just a mention to Aero as well. As you briefly mentioned, he missed the first race of the season, but pulled off the move of the race at the Spanish Grand Prix last time out. If you get a chance after this race, go and check that move out. It's towards the end of the race. It was a wonderful move, wonderful taking advantage of a situation there. Unfortunately, the 3-second penalty he did have at the end of that race pegged him back a little bit, but still, take nothing away from the move there that got him on track, at least 2nd place. Going through the other orders here, unfortunately I think that's Caden Forbes couldn't be here with us tonight, so he will not be participating in the race. But Dario is one I want to mention as well. Now, Dario, of course, got the race win last time out. It was his first race win in AOR, and more importantly, in the top tier of AOR. That's his first ever victory, and it's always really nice to get off the mark. Before that, though, he's been consistently within the points. He got 9th place at the very first race of the season. The only time he's been outside of the points was in Bahrain, where he finished in 12th place. Since then, he got an 8th place finish in Vietnam, a 10th place finish at the Chinese Grand Prix, 4th place in the Netherlands, and then his win last time out. So what do you reckon a win could do for Dario? Is this the start of something? This is the start of some great form and some great results coming his way?
Yeah, it's very possible. It would have given him a lot of confidence, and it was a win from pole position. Let's not forget. So it's not like we've seen quite often on this game. The alternate strategy seems to be incredibly powerful on this game. He did it traditionally the easy way, I suppose, starting from pole position, but quite often we've seen that's not always the case, taking a victory. He did that. He'll be feeling with a lot of confidence, and that is one thing you need around Monaco, is the confidence to just throw your car around and know that it's just not going to understeer into the barrier. You're not going to get that bit of oversteer. You've just, at some corners, you're pretty much aiming for the barrier and hoping that the car drifts ever so slightly wide. So he'll be feeling pretty good. I'm sure there's others as well that'll be hoping for a good performance. Like you said, Aero's shown some consistency. Surface has done well. We've seen Liam get his first win of the season. It won't be too long before we see who's going to take, like you mentioned earlier, the most important qualifying and the most important pole position of the season.
And it's about to get underway here as we head our way in towards this qualifying session. And of course, as Luke was saying, you've got to have the confidence in the car. If you don't have the confidence in the car, you are going to be easily 5-6 tenths off the pace. And as we've already seen this season, 5 or 6 tenths off the pace is pretty much without a race win, or you've ruled yourself out of a chance of a race victory from the get-go. That's really going to be critical here at Monaco. If you're half a second off the pace, people are going to recognise that, and people are going to absolutely exploit that to try and get further and further ahead of you. So this is critical. All the drivers know that, and to have the confidence in the car is something I will never have, especially around Monaco. With those walls only about a few inches away from the wall at any point on the track here. I think the widest part, the furthest away from the track they can possibly be is where you're seeing now, down at Saint-Devote. I think that's the clearest part of the track. That's the most open part of the track here at Monaco. Everywhere else, you feel a little bit claustrophobic.
Yeah, definitely. The section of track I always feel so good around when you get it right is the run down out the Nouvelle Chicane all the way up to Vascasse. If you get that absolutely nailed in an F1 car, it feels absolutely fantastic. I'm sure it looks fantastic as well when you see someone who actually knows what they're doing and can do it significantly faster than what I can. But let's get qualifying underway. I said the alternate strategy is powerful. I don't think we'll be seeing too much of that around Monaco just because the speeds are so low. Even though Pirelli bring their softest tyres to this race, we don't really get a lot of tyre wear. One slight benefit, if anyone does find the wall on lap 1, is the undercut can work extremely well. It's so difficult to overtake around here, especially in modern Formula 1 cars. If you pit in the first few laps, you can maybe just hold up the entire field behind you. When they come for their pit stop, don't be surprised if we see someone who starts a bit lower down maybe try to pit earlier if they feel like they're stuck in traffic, and get that bit of free air and just cope with the bad tyres at the end of the race, because if there's any circuit you can hang on at old tyres, it is probably this one.
It's Surface then who's first out onto the track then in the Renault as he now makes his way up the hill then, and of course it's going to be one of those days, isn't it, here at Monaco, the sun shining down onto the circuit. It's one of the first few circuits on the game you can actually run in the dark under the lights here, but because it is an official championship, we do have to run at official start time, which is a shame, but you know, we'll get the sunlight here. And of course, when we come to Monaco, there is that inherent risk of rain on the horizon. Now, unfortunately, we still haven't upgraded the commentary box here. Luke has only just joined in. He was meant to bring the weather app with him. Did you do that?
No, I forgot.
No.
I'm doing the old-fashioned way of just looking out the window and seeing what the clouds are doing. It looks pretty dry for qualifying, but like you said, we've seen rain here before. Olivier Panis winning what turned out to be a 3-car race by the end from 14th on the grid in what wasn't even torrential rain. You only need a little bit of sprinkling around Monaco to cause absolute chaos.
You do indeed, and of course the safety car is never too far away as the Renault now makes their way across that start-finish line in towards Saint-Devote. No heroics into here as you brake hard down in towards turn 1, and then you're up the hill. A little bit of a tap on the left-hand side there, a little bit of a love tap as you make your way up the hill now and through these next S sections. You make your way towards Casino Square, chuck the car in here, hope it sticks. A little bit of a bump here where the drain is, trying to avoid that one if you can as you make your way now in towards Mirabeau and down in towards the hairpin here. Turning in here, this is where the car really demands it. It really can understeer as you head in towards Mirabeau Bar and in towards the right-hander just before the tunnel here. You can hear the echoes of the engine as you make your way through the long right-hander here. Just full throttled through there as you make your way down towards that heavy braking zone. We've seen here huge crashes. The one that comes to mind is Sergio Perez back in 2011, and a few close shaves, including Charles Leclerc into the back of Brendan Hartley after that brakes failure. Really taking that swimming pool section, just flying through it there, all the confidence you can as we now make our way in towards Rascasse. Luckily, Michael Schumacher's Ferrari not parked on the apex there, in towards Anthony Nogues and across the start-finish line for Surface's first lap of the session, and it's a sub-70-second lap time. 109.6 there from the Renault, and expect the times to just come further and further down.
Yeah, there we go. Blizzard already 108.093. There's no getting warmed up for Blizzard. He's just flying out of the block straight away. His teammate coming across the line in second in the Williams, and Dario with a 114. Probably just a bit of a warm-up lap. We might see a few drivers doing that. I mentioned earlier the tyres can last, so maybe to build up the confidence. A bit like what you see in the wet quite often, where the drivers take a couple of laps to get used to the car. They might be doing the same here. They'll have done plenty of time trial. They'll have done plenty of Grand Prix and practice lobbies, but on this day in history, under these track conditions, probably not identical. So just getting a bit of a feel for the car. Not in Blizzard's case, though. He's just gone for it straight away. He'll be delighted with that, a 108.093. And I'm just surprised, because Surface's laps look pretty good to me. That is 1.5 seconds off pole position.
Yeah, and that's how quickly it can change then for Surface there, who obviously set the first lap of the session, but obviously setting that banker lap time now. All the drivers have set their banker laps, if you like, as Blizzard now tops the table, 108.0. His the championship leader in Guile, 108.8. at the moment in time for the AlphaTauri, but still plenty of time for the drivers here to set some times on the board. Just under 13.5 minutes to go, and it's Blizzard on provisional pole position ahead of Gamer. Domi is in third place with Boss in fourth, Liam in fifth with Aero sixth, Gwil in seventh, Johan in eighth, scoring Ferrari's first points for a long time here in the F1 PS4 League in eighth place. Surface in 9th, Lee Finley in 10th and Dario in 11th place, but that's not really a representative lap time there from the McLaren. But so far I haven't seen anyone into the walls. I've seen a couple of love taps out there, but that's about as hard as it's got at the moment.
Yeah, I think Lee Finley just gave it a slight love tap as well, coming through the swimming pool. He looks as though he's gone for another lap in that Mercedes and gets himself ahead of Surface for now in 9th place. And I'm interested to see how Lee does. I was expecting a lot of good things from him this season. He's only been in the points once in China, and I just feel he needs a bit of confidence. Maybe we saw Dario get that win last time out. I think Lee just needs just a better result. He got 6th place in China, but that was in damp conditions. Tonight could be the night. If he gets a decent performance in, manages to keep himself out of trouble. We saw him out of the race pretty much before it had even begun last time out in Spain, getting taken out completely innocent party on lap 1 at the Rosberg-Hamilton corner at Spain. He'll be hoping to just keep it clean and just pick up a few points and give himself something to build on after we come back after the break.
Yes, Lee Finley now, well, absolutely decimating the Nouvelle Chicane as he looks to make his way back towards the pit lane. You were saying there that obviously Lee Finley is a fan of the Chinese Grand Prix. Season 19 here in AOR F1 PS4, he won the race. So obviously he's got good memories of there, and it's just a little bit of a stick here. Sometimes drivers can find themselves just in a little bit of a performance dip, but that's where drivers need to pick themselves up, and that's where the best can really shine through. Just when they're not doing as well as they maybe should be doing, or where the media, i.e. the commentators, hype them up to be, is whether they can come back. So we're expecting big things from Lee Finley as he makes his way through. But a couple of cars out on their outlap at the moment. In fact, more than half the field out there now on their outlaps as they now make their way out there. Of course, it's the shortest track on the F1 calendar, but of course it's got its own special set of rules because of that. We don't run to the regular 300 kilometres. It's one of the only tracks that doesn't run to 300 kilometres. We run around about 240 at 100%. 240 kilometres is what this covers. Otherwise, we'll be here for 100 plus laps if that was the case, if we went to 300 kilometres. One of the only other tracks on the calendar that doesn't go to the 300 kilometres law, if you like, is the Hungarian Grand Prix, which goes to 280. So there's a little bit of a fun fact for you. Whether it was fun or not is entirely up to you.
Well, I definitely learned something. I knew Monaco didn't go to that because we hit the 2-hour limit every single time, but I never actually knew about Hungary. Perhaps that's surprising, seeing as that's always described as Monaco without the barriers, and I think a few drivers will be wishing this place didn't have barriers. You can tell they've all been practicing though. They've all kept it very clean so far. That's normally a good sign around Monaco, is if someone steps it in the wall early on, you know, they've perhaps not practiced as much as they should have. Because I see now Surface is coming around. He likes to be out early today. He's setting his second lap time at the moment, and as he comes across the line, can he find an improvement? He goes up into 7th position, gained quite a bit of time on that lap, but I think he'll still think there's a bit more to find as we've got some yellow flags. I think that was just Gil getting out of the way.
Yeah, we've got a couple of cars now making their way towards the line. We've got Aero, who's making his way now through the swimming pool section. Oh, bit of a huge tank slapper there. Just about kept it forward facing, but he's lost a chunk of front wing, and that lap is over for him. How he held on to that, I'm not entirely sure. The walls do save him some grace there. Blizzard abandons his lap time. Domi goes on to second place now with a purple third sector. Gamer now goes top with a 108.092, 1,000th of a second quicker than Blizzard there to try and snatch that provisional pole position away. Liam there, I believe, has improved. He's now on a 108.2. Dario on a 108.3 out there. Let's just have a look at his steering. Well, no, he's in mode 0, so he's just cruising around their Surface. Meanwhile, he's 3 seconds off his time through the second sector. So this is either going to be a lap into the pits, and it is going to be a lap into the pits. There it is. Answered my own question there. Gwil 2 seconds down through the second sector at the moment, or at least the third sector, so he's backed out of this one. Whether or not he'll go for another lap on these tyres is another question. Johan here making his way now in towards Mirabeau, and Caden Forbes has joined us. He originally said he wasn't going to be here, but we get one more person into the qualifying session, which is great to see. So hopefully we'll have yet another driver on the grid. Johan, though, well, it's always going to be difficult for Johan this season. He's the only Ferrari driver there, and considering the name behind them, you'd think they would have filled that second seat by now. But it's all on Johan to score Ferrari's points, and it shows with Ferrari struggling near the bottom of the constructors' table there, Luke.
Yeah, he's shown a bit better form last time out, getting his best result of the season. He'll be hoping for a good performance tonight, and I suppose that's one of the plus sides for some of these that have been struggling. If we do get Caden coming in, that is 12 drivers. A lot of people will be thinking, all I have to do is get to the end and I'm going to get into the points. That means I might not push as hard, and they might just find that consistency that I was talking about as Johan has then come back into the pit. And IGK Boss 92 goes up into 4th position. It's getting a bit closer, a bit more what we're used to seeing at the top of the timing charts. He's just over a 10th behind Gamer, only good enough for 4th position though at the moment.
Absolutely, Boss is out there. He's on a 108.2 at the moment as he's now cruising back towards the pit lane. But, of course, the narrow nature of Monaco here. We're basically in the millionaire's playground as they make their way through. Lee Finley's just tackling Mirabeau now. Keep an eye on that one. He's actually just gone purple through Sector 2, 2.5 tenths quicker than his own personal best at the moment as he tackles that hairpin here, now making our way through in towards the second part of Mirabeau, and now in towards Portier, now through the tunnel as we now head through fast through here, flat out as well. Try and get as close to that right hand side wall as you can, down in towards the Nouvelle Chicane. You can already see drivers trail braking there as they head through the Nouvelle Chicane as we now make our way into that quick left-hander of Tabac as you get a little bit of a bump just on entry. Now making our way through in towards the swimming pool section again, attacking it with all his might as we head in towards Raskas. A little bit of a lock-up there on the front left-hand tyre, a little bit of a tap of the wall as well as he now makes his way in through Anthony Noakes, the back end wanting to step out on him there, but he keeps it all under control. Where can Lee Findlay go with this lap time? P7, 108.6 then from Findlay, which now puts him onto the 4th row of the grid.
Surprised he didn't lose any time in the final sector. That was a huge tank slapper coming out of Anthony Noakes, just as you'll be wanting to get onto full power, just as you'll be wanting to open up your DRS. Not too bad of a lap though for him at the moment in 7th place. Got a bit of a gap though up to Dario, who is just coming around on a lap at the moment. It looks like Blizzard's back out on track, and he's improved in the first sector as well by 55 thousandths, which is currently 54 thousandths more than what he needs. Finds an improvement in these next 2 sectors, could be the first man in the 107s, and that might be hard to beat.
Here he goes then. Let's see. Let's follow him all the way through as he now makes his way towards Tabac then. That fast left-hander. You just got to hold everything. You got to hold your nerve through there, especially as we head through that swimming pool section. Absolutely attacking it. No mercy for those apexes there. Now we make our way in towards Larascas and in towards Anthony Noakes. You got to hold your breath through there. DRS wide open for Blizzard. This one's going to do it, isn't it? 67 seconds here. No, it's not. It's only 68 seconds, but only just. It's still enough for pole position. I thought he absolutely nailed that 3rd sector there.
I think that just shows how much he pretty much nailed his first lap, that he couldn't find too much of an improvement. A great job from him. It looks like Surface is moving up once again. He jumps up into 6th place. Very good lap from the Renault driver. You've just got Dario coming around the final couple of corners now. Looks like he's gone for another warm-up lap, and that seems to be a bit of a tactic that he's gone for all of today at the moment. Domi not too far behind. He's invalidated his lap, so stays in 3rd for now. But Blizzard and Gamer have been the top 2 since the start of this session. Just under 5 minutes to go. I think it's going to take something special from someone to knock either of them off the front row of this grid.
Well, if you're watching us now in the last 5 minutes of qualifying, welcome along to the Monaco Grand Prix. My goodness, you've chosen a race to join us here. The tightest street circuit on the calendar. We're just seeing Dario tackle that hairpin. And Gamer now has set the first 67-second lap time with a 107.9 in the Red Bull. Gamer now puts himself on provisional pole position with just over 4 minutes of qualifying to go. As we see now, there is a Renault making their way through. I wonder if that Surface just on an in-lap, which I think it is. He's in mode 0, so he's got no interest in attacking this lap time right now. We've got Boss, who's out there at the moment. I think he's on an in-lap. Dario is definitely on an in-lap there as he locks up the tyres going in towards Raskas. In fact, he's not on an in-lap. He's going to go for it. Now heading on towards the start-finish straight. 108.3 is his best so far. He now improves to a 108.0 there. Puts himself onto the front row of the grid, although Domi has quickly displaced him there in the Haas with a 108.018. So it's all to play for at the front of the field right now because they are so close together. If I bring up the gaps between them, there you can see the top 6 separated by less than 0.3 of a second. It's intensely close here. But what drivers will be doing now is just winding down, waiting for the next time around as Boss now goes onto provisional pole position. 107.8 there from the McLaren driver. So times are getting thicker and faster here as the track is always improving. Of course, the street circuit here, obviously, for the rest of the year, the 363 days where it's not used, it's an actual street. And of course, as the drivers get onto it, they'll be able to get quicker and quicker times as the track evolves. Less than 3 minutes to go. Boss is on provisional pole position.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic lap from Boss and Gamer, 2 drivers who haven't really been at the sharp end this season, at least when it comes to the races, doing well at the moment. It looks like Caden is going to be starting from the back, and it's very interesting what you said about the track evolution here. Let's not forget, at Monaco, the practice is on a Thursday, and on Friday, under normal circumstances, back when you could all go and mingle in the street. That's what people were allowed to do on the Friday. They'd go out, the restaurants would have tables on the street, there'd be spilt beers all over the place, and then they'd reopen the track up again. On a Saturday, there's only one place in the world where I think you could get away with doing that, and that is Monaco. It's why it's part of F1. We all know that as a racetrack, it's not necessarily the best for racing, but it's such a unique place, and all the drivers want to do extremely well. Lee Finlay, he's invalidated his lap. In fact, he's had quite a big hit with the wall, missing a lot of his front wing. That
was down at the Nouvelle chicane. He turned in too early and clipped the wall on entry. So unfortunately for him, that's his front wing gone, and he has retired from the session, so he'll be starting no higher than 8th place. It's all about now trying to find your space out there as you now just try and wind up to start your final flying lap of the Monaco qualifying session. The most critical qualifying session this season. It's going to be a big one here. Blizzard, who was provisional pole position about 5 minutes ago, now is in 5th place. He knows this lap needs to be a good one if he still wants to challenge for that championship battle after our week break. Then a little bit out of shape on the exit of Saint-Devote there as he now makes his way up the hill as we now try and fly through these corners. Massenet and Casino following quickly afterwards. Down the hill we go, avoiding the drain on the left-hand side, in towards the top of Mirabeau. Now you make your way in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, turning in as much as you can. Full lock to the left. The steering rack has to deal with that one. In towards the lower half of Mirabeau as we now make our way in towards Portier. Blizzard there trying to hook that car up. It looks pretty stable through that first sector there. Now making our way through the tunnel and onwards now towards the Nouvelle chicane. The eyes adjusting to the change of sunlight there from the darkness of the tunnel. Nouvelle chicane tackled there from the Williams of Blizzard. Now we fly away through to back then, getting as close to the wall as you dare. Now heading on towards the swimming pool section. The back end wanting to fly out there on Blizzard. He keeps it under wraps here. Now in towards Raskas, braking heavily there, trail braking on entry, and now in towards Anthony Nogues over the crest and on towards that start finish line. Could this be provisional pole position for Blizzard? Yes it can. 107.853 from the Williams. He's taken provisional pole position, but can anybody try and beat that one?
Well, I was on board with Gil. He didn't look comfortable throughout that entire lap, and he ends up not improving at all. Clout at the wall coming out of Raskas and Anthony Nogues. Liam, he now comes across the line, moves his way up into 5th place, just 9 thousandths ahead of Domi at the moment. Who else we got coming around the final corner now? Johan, he's not up through the first 2 sectors. Can he solidify his place in the top 10? Goes up into 8th. Great lap from him. Here comes Gamer heading towards the line. He takes provisional pole. 107.702. Take that, everyone. That is going to be extremely hard to beat, but I said that earlier and that didn't prove to be the case. It looks like Dario has backed off, so it might all be down to Domi now, and he's just given a slight tap to the wall coming through the swimming pool. That might be his chances of getting pole position over.
Yeah, I think he's got a bit of damage to that front wing as well as he now makes his way towards the line. He hasn't given up on this one. Can he improve? Well, yes, he can by 200ths of a second. Even with a damaged front wing, still managed to get an improvement on the board, and Aero has invalidated his lap time here. So that is going to be qualifying over and done with. And I tell you what, Gamer there has put in a fantastic lap. A 107.7 is your qualifying pole position time here for Gamer. And I have to say as well, he looks absolutely on form here tonight. That is his first pole position of the season. And what a place and what a time to get it, Luke.
We said if you want to get some good confidence for the rest of the season, now's the time to do it. That was an absolutely astonishing lap from him. I'm interested to see how this race is going to go, though, for our championship leader, Gwil. Before he backed off, he did not look comfortable under braking at quite a few places, locking up both fronts into the Nouvelle chicane, running a bit wide through Lowe's hairpin, running a bit wide through Vasquez, which eventually damaged his car. And our championship leader is going to have it all to do at the moment in 11th place, especially when you consider that the man second in the championship is starting second on the grid.
Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens. And as you say, Gwil's starting outside of the top 10, but he will get a free choice of tyre. I think that's going to be the only saving grace about that qualifying session for our championship leader. But it is still all to play for here at Monaco. The safety car rate here is very, very high. I mean, we're talking about almost 100% in modern times, since obviously the safety car was... Oh, you say invented, but thought of back in 1973 at the Canadian Grand Prix. Safety car here has been a permanent guest here at the Monaco Grand Prix. So don't be shocked to see that deployed at some point this race, especially if someone loses it big time through the swimming pool section. That always seems to be a trigger for the safety car here. But yeah, around the streets of Monte Carlo, that is a huge, huge place to get your first pole position of the season. As all we're waiting for really is Boss to retire the session, or for the time remaining to count down to 0, which is not too far away. And there you go then, Gamer does grab his first pole position of the season here on the streets of Monte Carlo. And what a lap it was.
Fantastic lap. Quite a big margin as well by this season's standards as well. 1.5 tenths of a second. Blizzard only just finishing ahead of Boss. Domi is 4th on the grid. Liam, pretty good qualifying from him in 5th. Dario managed to get pole last time out. He's only 6th. Surface and Johan on the 4th row of the grid. Lee Findlay just managing to beat Aero to 9th position. Grill is 11th, and we didn't see what Caden can do. I know he said he's had a few problems with his controller. I think this is the last track you'd want to have any problems whatsoever with the equipment you're using. So let's see what he can do from 12th on the grid.
Well, he's got free choice of tyre for sure, and because I don't think he set a lap in quali, he didn't leave his garage in qualifying, so he's able to, I believe, if I read the rules correctly, that he can change his setup because he's not under parc fermé. So that'll be interesting to see how he sets up the car for the race. Does he add a couple of wings here and there? What we don't know, Luke, of course, is the weather. Oh my goodness, wow. Well, it's going to be heavy rain here in Monaco, if you couldn't see that very clearly. Well, that just changes everything, really. It looks like it's heavy to me, possibly wet tyres to start this race. So that is going to be a huge one for the drivers to think about here. Monaco in the dry is difficult enough. You throw some wet weather in there, and it's going to be even more tricky here. Keeping it on the track here at Monaco in the wet, well, I'm already looking forward to this one now. Now that there's some wet weather thrown into it, my goodness, the drivers are going to be in for quite some race, aren't they, Luke?
Well, we said we're almost guaranteed a safety car. That's got up to like 99.999% Dettol percentages of safety car happening.
I like that. Tonight. I like that. Dettol percentage. I've got to use that now.
I don't even know where that came from. I'm slightly concerned that was the first thing that came to my mind. I'd say you'd chuck more rear and front wing on, but this is Monaco. You pretty much have barn doors on the back of your car anyway, so they'll be putting a bit more downforce on where they can. Well, obviously, only Caden can do that because he didn't set a time. If it is borderline between intermediate and full wet tyres, I wonder if we'll see drivers go for the full wets just because they give you a bit more confidence.
I've seen someone in the chat say, I wish there was 1080p streaming. I do too, but leave my 7-year-old PS4 alone. It's doing its best, okay? Anyway, we're now making our way on towards the grid now for a very sopping wet Monaco Grand Prix as the drivers now make their way out onto the track and make their way on towards what is going to be a pretty important formation lap here. Instantly a loss of grip going in towards Sandevot. Gamer will have his first pole position of the season, and that is so important here in these heavy rain conditions. Predicted a pit stop strategy, well, of course it's going to be wet tyres if it stays at this rate, but you're expecting to see the wet tyres all the way throughout, and if they're staying on the wet tyres, it is going to be a one stop, possibly at a roundabout lap. Well, I'm trying to think halfway, so it's probably going to be about lap 17, lap 18 to try and get the undercut, because of course lighter fuel towards the end, you can make those tyres last a little bit longer towards the end of this race. It also tries to enable a little bit of an undercut in this race, which obviously with Monaco, if you can't get the move done out on track, it needs to be done in the pit lane. One thing as well that the drivers have to bear in mind is that the tunnel is absolutely bone dry. You cannot take that full speed on these wet weather tyres, and because it's dry in there, those tyre temperatures go up a heck of a lot.
And not just that, as the rain carries on, the drivers are going to bring some water into the tunnel, and then if the rest of the track starts to dry out, there's no sun getting to the tunnel, so that might stay a bit damp longer. One driver who has gone for something very interesting, Lee Findlay in 9th place, is on the intermediate tyres. There's a fine line, I always say, between genius and stupidity, and we could find out very early on which side of the line Lee is lying on, because if the rain gets lied to him the next couple of laps, as long as he can survive, he'll be in the lead of this race and be in an absolutely fantastic position. If it doesn't get lied to him and he has to change to the wet tyres, his chances of getting any decent points go out the window. This is going to be an absolutely fantastic race, Kieran.
Well, the streets of Monte Carlo alive with the sound of those V6 engines, and they're going to be even more thrilled at this race with the fact that Lee Findlay starting on the intermediate tyres is going to throw a spanner among the works here. Gamer with his first pole position, and of course no spray for him heading down towards Sandevot. The message from Jeff to all the drivers is clear: no heroics please, it is 5 red lights. And we're underway in Monte Carlo, wheel spinning off the line. It's a good start from Gamer, not a great start from Blizzard then, but look at the Williams teammate there making their way now in towards turn 1. That's a great start from Gamer, he's up the field here. The McLaren there of Boss has now got up in towards 3rd place as the Haas there of Domi struggles to put the power down. This is not where you want to be going side by side, going up the hill now as we head our way in towards Massenet and now towards Casino Square as the cars tiptoe their way around. That was a fantastic start from Domi there as he's up the order, but of course we've still got the pole position man Gamer in the lead of this race. Blizzard didn't look like he got a great start off the line, but to be fair to him, he managed to recover and now is in 2nd place, holding on to that one for as long as he can. Looking at Lee Findlay here, just keeping it on the track at least, but he's suffering majorly with understeer here and a little bit of oversteer as well as Aero manages to get the move done on him. Kind of predictable really, because Lee Findlay is on the wrong tyres at the moment. Gamer gets the Nouvelle chicane all wrong there, no doubt. I think he'll have a warning for that one as they now make their way on towards to back now, tiptoeing their way through. That raid is not letting up whatsoever. Boss here is in these conditions, he is struggling a little bit compared to the front two, but he's keeping it out of the walls for now. Domi in 4th place, Dario is in 5th place with Liam in 6th, Johan is in 7th place, Guil has made his way up towards 8th place. That's a great start for our championship leader, having started 11th in this race. Surface in 9th, Lee Findlay on the intermediates in 10th place, but he's going to commit to it. Aero couldn't get the move done on Lee Findlay, he's staying in 11th place, getting a tank slapper out of Anthony Noakes, and Caden Forbes, who started this race having not set a qualifying lap, rounds out the top 12 for now. But good start from Gamer. He's, at the moment, having pole position to a win, but there's a heck of a long way to go, Luke.
Definitely a long way to go, but he's got the perfect view, like you said, no spray. Him and Blizzard are just checking out of this. Gamer's already 3 seconds ahead of Boss. Amazingly, I've gone through the field. Everyone has still got both of their front wing end plates, which I think is an absolute miracle in these conditions. But Lee Findlay's just sort of showing that it is pretty borderline at the moment. Obviously, I think on the start line, just probably got a bit of wheel spin, and that allowed some of them to get ahead. Guil with an absolutely fantastic start, moving up three positions then. The biggest gainer, the only other drivers to gain on lap 1 were Dario up 1 and Johan up 1 as well. So now they're just going to all settle into a rhythm. Obviously, they'll have no DRS, not like it's really effective into Sandoval anyway on this game. This could be a big strategy decision for a few drivers to make, especially if the drivers do decide it's ready for the intermediate tyres. When do you go for it? When do you make the decision? We saw that was all important in China, and that got Liam his first victory, going for that different strategy. I think we're a long way away, though, to seeing the rest of the field going for intermediates. Although I say that, Liam is into the pits. I wonder if he picked up any damage on that lap.
Well, we can't see it from the onboard cameras at the moment, but the Williams team are ready. What are they going to do? Intermediate tyres are ready for the Williams. So on go those green wall tyres, and away goes Liam. So this is going to be an interesting strategy call, because that rain is still heavy there, as Guil, I think, trying to move up the inside in towards Massenet just before Casino, but that wasn't on, and Guil there has to settle for 7th place at the moment. Caden Forbes is into the pit lane, and he is on the wet weather tyres, so it looks like he had a run-in with the wall at some point on that lap. But yeah, Liam on the intermediate tyres. The rain for me is still pelting it down out onto the track, but obviously they're always in constant talks with Jeff, their engineer. All of them have Jeff as their engineer. He's a good guy. He gets a lot of work in these races, but they'll be constantly checking in with him about the weather and about these weather conditions, seeing which tyres are going to be quicker, and they're going to be monitoring Lee Finley and Liam as close as they possibly can to see how effective those intermediate tyres are at this point in the race.
Lee's definitely not gaining any time on those ahead, but it's not like he's losing any as well, so it's so close at the moment. It could tip either way if the rain starts getting a bit heavier, I imagine, seeing as he's gone on the intermediates and Liam has gone on them as well. I just imagine that the forecast is for the race to get drier as it goes along.
Here comes Guil, and he's made light work of Johan there. Guil getting a much better exit out of Anthony Noakes, and he's into 6th place as we make our way in towards Sandoval. Johan now down to 7th place as he's struggling to get the power down here. Here comes Surface, and he has to really bolt out of the way there as the Ferrari was still wheel spinning up the hill. Oh, he's into the wall there on the outside of Massenet. And has he got away with damage? No, he hasn't. He's damaged the right-hand side of his front wing, has Johan. So he's now got a wounded Ferrari to get around the track here. This is the last place you want to lose any downforce, let alone in the rain. In some of these high-speed corners, you need all the grip you can get in these really treacherous conditions. But Johan here, who at the moment is, well, Ferrari's sole... His sole chance of scoring points for Ferrari. That's them. That's Johan. And unfortunately, he's run into a little bit of trouble. He's now making his way in through the tunnel section. Lee Finley, meanwhile, 9th place, obviously gaining on the wounded Ferrari. But as you say, Luke, it's not like he's losing time to anybody else.
He's lost quite a bit on that lap, but so are some of those around him on the wet tyres. So we can't really judge too much at the moment.
Oh, Gamer's in.
Seems to be doing okay. They're all keeping it tidy, and yeah, Gamer and Blizzard coming into the pits. I think they know it's going to be ready for intermediate tyres soon, and Lee Finley could well take the lead.
Well, Blizzard is in. He should be going on to a set of intermediates as well. And he is, yes. So intermediate tyres then for those in the pit lane. So Gamer is the first race leader to come into the pits to put on those tyres. And there goes Lee Finley, taking the provisional lead of this race. Of course, Johan, Dario and Boss still ahead of him. I tell you what, this rain has let up just a little bit as Liam sets the fastest lap of the race. That's going to be a huge thing for all the other drivers. That's a huge message to all of those still on the wet tyres. Perhaps you've got to think about changing onto those intermediate tyres. Domi just emerges ahead of Liam. That was a crucial one for the Haas driver. Then he re-emerges and takes 7th place. So he's got a little bit of clear air ahead of him. The two McLarens then running in 1st and 2nd. Boss leading Dario by 3.5 seconds. Then further back, Johan with that damaged front wing. I think he'll just be trying to get it to that changeover point on the intermediate tyres. But how big of a decision could that be for Lee Finley? Now he's ahead of Gamer by 1 second. But how long can his intermediate tyres last? To me, it looks like that everybody else will have to change on to another set of tyres. It's way too early to put on a set of intermediates and get yourself to the end of the race.
Yeah, definitely. They will have to all have to pit again. I think that's a big mistake by the McLaren team. Boss now comes into the pits, but it is clearly ready for intermediates now. Dario They can't do the double stack. Davio's going to have to stay out. He is going to lose a chunk of time as Aero gets a 3-second time penalty. Pretty impressive here to get time penalties this early on, because it's only really the chicane where it can go wrong for you. Johan into the pits as well. I think Caden really regretting his decision to go back out onto the wet tyres. Davio in the lead of this race, but you can see already Lee Finlay closing up about 2 seconds on that lap. He's got Gamer and Blizzard right behind him. You've got to be brave to do an overtake in the dry at Monaco. It's going to take some serious bravery to see an overtake here, and let's not forget, Lee's probably a bit more used to the grip of these tyres still at this moment in time.
Yeah, and of course they're 4 laps younger, the tyres on Gamer and Blizzard, so that's something to keep in mind. Blizzard actually taps the back of Gamer there. I think Blizzard, he's got away with any damage on that car, so he's a very, very lucky boy there. But Gamer here now making his way in towards the right-hander just before the tunnel, and of course Bone Dry in here, and that's going to be a huge take for some of the drivers here. They might have to let up, and they just run the risk of those tyres just being a little bit too warm as they head in towards the Nouvelle chicane. And of course they've already judged that to a T here as Lee Finlay now starts to pull away a little bit. I think that's because Gamer and Blizzard are just trying to have a little bit of a battle between themselves as we head away in towards the swimming pool section, now on towards Raskas here, and it's a very brave man to try and stick a nose up the inside here in the dry, let alone in the wet weather conditions. Gamer now making his way through. Anthony Nose right on the tail of Lee Finlay as we make our way across that start-finish line once again. Lap 7 of this race has just started, and we see then most of the drivers on a set of intermediate tyres as Domi sets the fast lap of the race, a 1:24, quickly topped by Grill there on a 1:23.6. So this track is constantly improving. These tyres are displacing the water off the racing line, which is their sole purpose. The wet weather tyres can displace anywhere between 70 and 80 litres of water per second off the racing line. With the intermediate tyres, you're looking at around about 25 to 35 litres. Still no mean feat, but you really have to be careful once you decide to go onto those intermediate tyres. The rain has definitely eased off here, but it's still light rain conditions, so we'll be on the intermediate tyres for the foreseeable future. Blizzard, meanwhile, well, he wants a score to settle here. He wants to be past Gamer.
Yeah, he's put a bit of ERS down towards the chicane, but not really close enough. Could probably do...
Oh, Blizzard! Blizzard's hit the wall! He's hit the rear tyre, which is so easy to do. He's spun the car around, and now he's all the way down the order, and that is what happens in a lapse of concentration. You can just catch that rear tyre on the inside wall, just heading into the Nouvelle chicane, and he's spun the car around. He's lost a couple of positions. He's now behind his teammate, down in 5th place.
Absolute disaster for Blizzard. I was going to say, you could probably just do with Gamer making a slight mistake out of Portier to get a good run, and there we go. Blizzard taps his rear on the inside of the Nouvelle chicane. You see it's happened there so often. Can happen at Vasquez as well. Thankfully for him, he avoided hitting the front of the car anyway, so he's got away without any damage. He's in 5th place, just needs to recover now and trying to get himself up onto the back of Lee Finlay and Gamer and Domi and Liam as well. It does look as though Domi's just slowly closing in to Lee and Gamer at the moment. Of course, with Lee on the older tyres, it's going to be tough for Gamer to get past anyway, so we'll see what he can do. And Caden's been back into the pits for the second time to put the intermediate tyres on. I think he might have to rely on a few retirements if he wants to pick up any points in the Red Bull.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to have to do a lot of hard work now. He'll be hoping for a safety car, will Caden Forbes, to get himself back up the order as best as he possibly can. Lap 8 of this Grand Prix. 32 laps to go, 31 and a bit if you're picky, and it is Lee Finlay who leads the way, having started this race on the intermediate tyres and got the changeover point and managed to lose not enough time so that he holds on to the lead of this race this early on. That was a huge gamble, Luke, and obviously at a track where it's very difficult to overtake, that was a fantastic call from Finlay. But of course, if there's another changeover point, that'll be amazing for Lee Finlay because he can just pit when everybody else does. If it stays in these intermediate conditions, he might find that he's got to pit earlier, and of course that might make him a little bit out of sync with everybody else.
As long as when he pits earlier, he comes out in a bit of free air, because we know those intermediate tyres, you need to be on the fresher ones, you need to have that bit of tread there just to help you along and help you displace the water. he should be fine if he comes out in free air. If he had to pit now for whatever reason, and I know it's far too early, he'd probably come out behind Johan, and then if he gets stuck, you might see Gamer, Domi, Liam and Blizzard and everyone else just try and go on that extra bit longer. But he looks to be doing okay so far. You can definitely tell he's not got the pace of some of those behind us. We are starting to get the trains that we see quite often at Monaco. This makes it a bit harder for Gamer now. It's not like you can really go for a lunge anyway at Monaco, but if he goes for a move now and it doesn't manage to pull it off, Domi and Liam could get ahead of him. It looks as though he's going for the chicane there. He definitely showed his nose. Not close enough though.
No, nowhere near close enough was he, and he'll be hoping that he can get even closer to that Mercedes, or even fill the Mercedes mirrors with that little bit of Red Bull here, as Lee Finley, he gets the entrance of the swimming pool slightly ajar, and it leaves him a little bit vulnerable as we head now down towards Raskas, but Lee Finley covers the inside line. No chance of Gamer launching a move up the inside. Even if he wanted to there, Lee Finley was not going to make that easy. Traction zones are going to be critical here. Gamer, no DRS of course, but he's got ERS, and in these wet weather conditions you can manage your ERS battery just that little bit easier because the car's losing more energy than it would in the dry. Therefore, the battery charges a little bit quicker. It's easier to keep the charge in the battery once you've used it. So expect to see a little bit faster down the straights here at least. But now we're making our way down towards Mirabeau. The top of Mirabeau here, turning in. And of course, very tricky these conditions. But you can see here, there's your top 4, there's your top 5. And you can just see the McLaren of Dario emerging in the picture there. But you might be able to see, there is the Renault there of surface. So the top 8 there, covered in one camera angle at the hairpin. So that's not bad so far. But Gamer gets a little bit of a tank slapper on the exit there of Portier. He's able to keep it under wraps at the moment. Domi, 3rd place at the moment for him in the Haas. He's doing pretty well right now.
What did we say? He either gets a podium or he scores no points, and he's currently on for a 3rd position. Interestingly, it's not like Blizzard's all over the back of his teammate at the moment. In fact, he's more worried about Dario, and Blizzard getting very close to the wall at to back there. So thankfully for him, I think he just about missed it. No, he hasn't. He's got damage. Blizzard has front wing damage, I believe, and now Davio's going to be all over the back of him. Grill nearly going for a move on his IGT stablemate with Boss just behind. This is really going to hold all these guys up. Dario needs to get past Blizzard as soon as possible.
He does indeed. Meanwhile, Gamer putting Lee Finley under pressure as we make our way up the hill now, as we once again head our way towards Massenet. That long left-hander which goes on forever if you're in these tricky conditions, then followed by the quick right-hander of Casino. Down we go then towards Mirabeau, and Gamer just looking for any ounce of free air that he can take. Dario, meanwhile, he's looking for a move round the outside of Blizzard in towards the top of Mirabeau. Not often a place you get to see a move there. Then in towards the hairpin. Well, unless he tries to launch a move up the inside a la Adrian Sutil, he's not going to find a way past there, especially in these wider Formula 1 cars. Now making our way in towards Portier, and Blizzard having to limp at this moment in time. Dario knows he's got to find that way past Guil. Championship leader knows he has to find a way past his championship rival as well, as Guil has to tuck into the behind of Dario right now, as the other McLaren of Boss just gets a little bit wayward on the entrance in towards the Nouvelle chicane, loses a little bit of time there. And of course, mistakes here at Monaco can be punished severely, with those walls never more than a few inches away. And again, Boss losing that back end there. But to be fair, we've seen a lot of cars here go slightly awry in towards the the swimming pool section chicanes there. We've seen a lot of back end step out, but it's the drivers that just keep them under wraps and keep it on the track. Dario, I don't think he'll have a proper move in towards Sandavot here, as we see them now rise up the hill. But I tell you what, Dario's all over his gearbox now as they make their way up the hill. We go towards that long left-hander of Massenet. There goes Dario up the inside, and the McLaren now gets the move done on the Williams as we make our way through Casino. Dario up to 5th place. That's exactly what he wanted to do. And now the battle between the two championship leaders. Guil leading the championship, Blizzard 2nd place in the championship going into this race. They're locked in a battle for 6th place here at Monaco.
Yeah, Guil took a slightly wider line through Casino, I think, to try and get a run into Mirabeau, but wasn't able to do so. They are losing a bit of time, obviously, to those ahead. You can see already Davio 1.5 seconds ahead of Blizzard at this moment in time. Is Guil going to send one round the outside into the chicane? I think Blizzard covered off the inside, which would obviously be the more preferable line. So just has to wait another day. Now that Dario's pulled that move off, coming up into Rivalries, that might make Blizzard a bit wise to it. So Grill might have to think of somewhere else. I do wonder if you just get a good enough line through Mirabo, whether you can, as you put it, Adrian Sutil it into the hairpin, but you'll probably pick up at least a 3-second penalty for doing so. I think in the next 5 or 6 laps we might see a few more pit stops, definitely from Blizzard, just to get rid of these intermediate tyres and get a front wing changed as well. Otherwise he's going to lose so much time as this race goes on. I've got to say, Lee Finley's doing a pretty good job at the moment. Gamer doesn't look all over the back of him as much as he was earlier on.
Ooh, there goes Grill now round the outside in towards Massenet. Has he got that move done? Yes, he has. He's got the inside line in towards Casino, and he is ahead now of Blizzard. That was a move that Grill needed to get done here. Meanwhile, we're going too wide now at the top of Mirabo. You've got Aero here up the inside of Boss. Boss just about holding on for now, and he's got the inside line in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, but then Boss picks up a 3-second time penalty by putting 4 wheels on that very inside pavement of the hairpin there, and that's going to be added to the end of his race. And Aero sliding his way on the exit of Portier there, lighting up those rear tyres in these tricky weather conditions. We're approaching third race distance, which means we've still got 2/3 of this fantastic Monaco Grand Prix to go. Lee Finley leads the way ahead of Gamer and Dommy there, rounding up the top 3. Liam in 4th place with Dario in 5th. Wheel Championship leader in 6th place. Blizzard with front wing damage in 7th. Surface in 8th with Boss in 9th. Aero rounding out the top 10 with Johan outside of the top 10 in 11th place, and Caden Forbes running into trouble earlier on in this race. He's in 12th place, but still in the running. That's great to see.
Yeah, still in the running, still got to keep going round. We could easily get a safety car, but if the timing works out well, you never know what could happen. We've already seen how easy it is to just make a small mistake there. That's all Blizzard did, just kissed the wall ever so slightly. He's broken his front wing, and that's actually been 2 small mistakes from him, because he was all over the back of Gamer early on after qualifying in 2nd. Now he's holding up Surface. Boss just running slightly wide in the background there. Aero not close enough to have an opportunity. You can see here Surface all over the back of Blizzard at the moment in time. Where is he going to pick his move? It seems to be coming up the hill through Massenet. Seems to be the point where a lot of the drivers have chosen. But now that Blizzard's been passed on the inside and the outside, I think he'll just keep it roughly middle of the road. This is looking really good, you've got to say, at the moment from Lee Finley. He's soaked up all the pressure so far. Intermediate tyres seem to be holding up fairly well. It'll be a pretty standard 1-stop from here. If he picks first, he'll come out in free air as well, quite a bit behind Johan. This could all work out absolutely brilliant for him if he keeps it clean, because we are seeing a few more drivers pick up penalties. Yeah, and we'll have to keep an eye on that as we head our way through the later stages of this race. At the moment, though, Finley still leading the way, of course, wanting to get a win on the board this season. And what a place to do it as well, on a strategy as well that looked a little bit sketchy from the outset, but it just shows you, Luke, why we're in the commentary box and Finley is out there on circuit. He took the risk. It was a big risk as well. Huge risk of aquaplaning in these treacherous conditions. He took that risk and has taken the lead of this race. The only problem is, though, how long is it going to stay wet? Will it stay raining for the rest of this race? That's something we just don't know, unfortunately. That's something the drivers will get an idea of whether how long this race is going to be under these wet weather conditions. But Surface right on the gearbox of Blizzard then as we make our way through Casino, now in towards the top of Mirabo. There goes Aero, then up the inside in towards Mirabo, side by side, running now between Aero and Boss. They give each other the space there. Are we going to see a move round the outside at the hairpin? We may just do. Now in towards the lower part of Mirabo. Still the racing point up the inside as we now head our way in towards Portier, and they both somehow ran side by side from the top of Mirabo down towards Portier. Fantastic respect between the two, and Aero's got the move. He's up to 9th. Yeah, fantastic move from Aero. I've just noticed Boss is missing a bit of his front wing as well, but obviously because they've been stuck behind Blizzard, we didn't really see him lose any time. So now Aero's got a bit of free air. He'll be trying to get onto the back of Surface, who hasn't really got past Blizzard as easily as I would have expected. We've seen Dario and Grill do it earlier on, and they've just streaked away up at the head of the field at the moment. I mean, 8 seconds ahead of Blizzard now, who will be really struggling. And
Here we go. This could be...
Tyres.
Oh, that was... Sorry to cut across you there, Luke, but that was Lee Finley and Gamer almost running side by side, but Lee Finley was closing that door, and Gamer had to back out of that just on the exit of Sandevot there. Gamer really did to prioritise his exit and really got a great launch out of the corner, but Lee Finley saw it coming, closed the door, just parked his Mercedes in the middle of Beau Rivage and was not willing to let that Red Bull get a sniff of the inside. Johan, meanwhile, gets a move done on Boss then, so he's now up into the top 10, which will be great for Ferrari to see. They want back-to-back points finishes. That's exactly what they want, to try and get themselves further and further up the table. They've only got the one car to do that at the moment, but they are rooted to the bottom. Dario getting a huge amount of oversteer going through the tunnel there, and Guil wanted to take advantage of it, but he wasn't close enough, couldn't quite find that late braking move that he needed. Aero, meanwhile, he thought about a move on surface up the inside and towards the Nouvelle chicane, but again had to back out of that one. But it's safe to say the drivers are throwing caution to the wind. They're not afraid to make those moves, but at the same time the drivers that are defending are willing to leave the space, which is so rare to see at Monaco. It's great.
Yeah, it's just intelligent driving from all of those. They know at Monaco, in a lot of places, you chuck it in the middle of the road, they're not going to be able to do anything. The Surface trying to go around the outside here. They're squeezing there between Surface and Blizzard. They just got away without any more damage, and I think somehow Blizzard getting a great exit there, just holds on to that position. Boss comes into the pits, fixing his front wing. Obviously, that'll be another set of intermediate tyres. Feel it's just worth coping with these older tyres towards the end, as finally Surface has managed to get ahead of Blizzard, and Aero might be able to follow as well, all the way around the outside of Massenet. The two Shazoo drivers up into 7th and 8th, and it looks like Johan won't be too far behind.
I held my breath as they made their way through Massenet there. I'm sure the drivers will have been thinking the same, if not worse. But they both made their way through. Running too wide up Beau Rivage is never a great idea, but they managed to pull it off there, and both drivers get their position. Surface up to 7th place, Aero in 8th, and Blizzard just trying to run around here, currently in 9th place with that damaged front wing. And it's damage limitation at this moment in time, because his championship rival Guil, who was 9 points ahead of him going into this race, is currently in 6th place, although the entrance in towards the swimming pool section there wasn't great there from the Alpha Tauri, as he just looks to try and get onto the back of this battle here. It's Dario ahead of him, but he's joining onto this train for the lead of the race then. Lee Finley will start lap number 18 here in Monte Carlo, leading this race. Gamer is in 2nd place, Domi 3rd with Liam in 4th, Dario in 5th with Guil in 6th, Surface in 7th, Aero 8th, Blizzard in 9th, Johan rounding out the top 10 with Boss and Caden Forbes running 11th and 12th place. Probably a good time to reflect, Luke, that we're probably approaching this pit window for those intermediate tyres. So if we're not seeing drivers pit in, especially Lee Finley, then maybe there's some more weather on the cards.
Yeah, that is very possible indeed. I mean, the clouds still look there. The rain stayed pretty much the same intensity for the last 10 to 15 minutes at the moment. It's like the sun's trying to break through, but not able to do so. I'm wondering if Lee will be the first one to pit. I wonder if we're going to see an undercut from some of these in the back of the train at the moment. So maybe a Dario or a Guil just to try and get themselves out of this train, because Blizzard and Johan, though, kind of the corks in the bottle at the moment. They might not know where they are, but they'd come out right behind these two, and if Blizzard and Johan stay out for a long time, that's that strategy ruined for them. So we'll have to see what the drivers do. Traditionally, you'd think Lee would be the first one to pit. I'm not so sure, and I think it might have actually stopped raining.
It has, yes. There's no more drops on the halo there. That's a really good sign if you're watching these races about the weather conditions. The rain has stopped here at Monte Carlo, so no less than half a lap after I said, is there any more weather to affect this race? Yes, there is. It has stopped raining. So now drivers will be thinking, how long can they make these intermediate tyres last? Because they'll now be trying to make them last until the changeover onto what could potentially be dry tyres. But of course, we've seen, Luke, in the past that just because it stops raining doesn't mean that dry tyres are on the horizon.
No, sometimes it can be a couple of laps, sometimes it can be quite a long time, and I think at Monaco you're just going to want to stay on the intermediate tyres. I mentioned this earlier, you're going to want that extra bit of confidence you get from having the tread, but they'll be overheating so much on the drier parts of the track. You can still see they're kicking up a lot of spray. We're definitely 3 or 4 laps at best away from dry tyres at the moment. It's just, can Lee Finley keep his tyres going long enough in decent conditions? Seems to be doing okay at the moment. Yes, he's got this train of cars behind him, but it doesn't matter. It's Monaco. As long as you don't make any mistakes, he should be fine for now. I wonder, though, will anyone lower down the order maybe think about taking a risk? And this could explain why Blizzard hasn't come in to change his front wing yet, because if you're changing to the dry tyres again later on, you're not going to want to make an extra pit stop for intermediates, then come in again for the slicks.
It does make complete sense, doesn't it, as we now make our way on towards that start-finish line once again, as Lee Finley crosses the line to start lap number 20. 20 laps to go here in Monte Carlo. Lee Finley still leading the way as the rain has ceased on the streets of Monaco. Gamer looking for that way past Lee Finley, struggled to get the power down. Gamer looking up the inside in towards Massenet, but the door was firmly shut there. Maybe up the inside of Casino. No, again, door is firmly shut. Where will he go this time around as they head towards the top of Mirabeau? Again, no way through for the Red Bull. It is so easy to get frustrated when you're behind the car in front that you might know is quicker, or you are quicker than the car in front. But of course, it's Monaco. The places you can overtake are very few and far between. We've got yellow flags in Sector 3, and that could be Boss, who's at a moment, and it is Boss, who's at a moment out of Antonino. He's spun the rear tyres up and has hit the wall there. I wonder if there's any damage to that car there, Luke.
I didn't see any damage. I think it was just a bit of a light tap with the wall as he was trying to go around, but no damage done, and that's on fresh intermediate tyres. So imagine how Lee Finley's feeling at the front of the race, and I think you can already see he's starting to struggle on the traction at the moment, coming out of some of the corners. If Gamer just gets it right and thinks about this a few places ahead, he might be able to get the move done. You can see there taking a later apex, trying to get ahead of the Mercedes, but Lee's a wise man. He knows what he's doing here. He knows how to place his F1 car absolutely perfectly. We're coming on to lap 21. He's in the lead. Liam here is getting ahead of Domi. I wonder if Domi's made a slight mistake there. Dario all the way around the outside at Saint Devot. They've made contact now. Will's on the scene as well. He's got absolutely nowhere to go. Just a wall of McLaren and Haas. That's allowing Liam to get away ever so slightly. And Blizzard comes into the pits. Is this for slick tyres?
Oh, that was a nightmare for Domi. Yeah, he got the exit of Anthony Nogues all wrong there. Got a little bit of wheel spin, and that just left him vulnerable down the run towards Sandevot, and it led to that little bit of a Constantina effect as we made our way up Beau Rivage. Front wing change and medium tyres on for Blizzard. He's looking to go to the end of this race now on a set of slick tyres. So this is going to be the call then from second place in the championship right now. He'll emerge there, should emerge I should say, in 10th place. But here comes Caden Forbes down towards turn 1. Always a tricky part of the racetrack here, as Caden Forbes is going to be battling Blizzard here, and Blizzard struggling to get the power down. Caden Forbes says, see you later, I'll take that position away. But Blizzard now has got to be hoping that the track dries out quickly, because he's struggling for grip right now. If he's pitted too early, then the tyres will rapidly cool down with the water that's out on track, and all that time the team have put those tyre blankets on will be for nothing, and it'll be literally just like driving on ice. Lee Finley still leads the way though. Gamer is in second place. Domi meanwhile comes into the pit lane as he looks to try and get off those intermediate tyres. I wonder if that's going to be for dry tyres as well.
Yeah, I think he's only going for it because he's got damage, a bit like Blizzard, who is still sliding his way along as contact between Boss and Blizzard. Actually, they're coming through the tunnel. It's too early. It is too early for the slick tyres. You've got absolutely no grip at the moment. Look at the understeer there that Blizzard's got as he picks himself up a time penalty. He's down into last place. I think it had been worth just carrying on those intermediate tyres. I mentioned it before, one track you want to just play it a bit safer is Monaco, because the consequences, if you get it wrong can be fatal. I mean, Lee Finley's doing a pretty good job still carrying on the older tyres as well. I think Domi's going to be sliding all over the place as well. They're just going to drop a long way down the order. It does look a bit drier, but there is still at some parts of the track, I've just had a look on board with Johan around the hairpin, there's a lot of spray still at some parts of this track. Nowhere near ready for dry tyres yet.
No, but I think Blizzard there was just throwing caution to the wind. He'd realised at that moment that things weren't going his way. He just thought he'd throw something different at the wall, and if something different works, then you can gain a bunch of time. If something different doesn't work, you just lose that time, unfortunately. So he tried it, and yeah, maybe just a little bit too early there for Blizzard. Meanwhile, though, Lee Finley will start lap 23 in the lead still of the Monaco Grand Prix. Gamer is keeping him on his toes here, but I've got to say, Finley has done a supremely good job at holding on to the lead of this race here as they make their way through Massenet.
Yeah, he's doing incredibly well. I'm interested about the man in third. We've seen him get the strategy right once today when he was the first driver to pit for the intermediate tyres. We know Lee started on them. Could Liam be one of the first ones to get it right with the timing to pit in for the slick tyres? I'm just having a look at some of the times that the drivers are doing. Sector 1 for Blizzard on this lap was a 24-second Sector 1. You compare that to his teammate who's doing it in 22 seconds. So the 2 seconds right away there for Blizzard that he is losing. Next few laps we might start seeing a few more come in and it might be the better decision. I wonder whether they'll come in and put the soft tyres as well on, because they'll be able to keep the heat a bit more. This is just Hurley Finley sliding his way through the corners at the moment. I can't imagine he's feeling too good either on these 22 lap old intermediates.
Yeah, the spray is much less than it was a couple of laps ago, but there is still spray out on the track. I'd rather be up here in the commentary box than out there on the track deciding when to go onto the slick tyres. Lee Finley says now Gamer follows him in, so too does Liam, as DRS is now enabled there. It's almost like Lee Finley was waiting for that message to appear. Dry tyres are definitely the way to go. It's now the changeover period, as I saw someone got a 5-second penalty there for a severe collision. I don't know if you caught that, Luke.
I think it was Gwil who's got one, and I imagine Dario might have got one as well. I think Dario broke his front wing on the back of Liam there, so he's dropped down to 6th position. Everyone is going on the medium tyres. Best choice to get themselves comfortably to the end. Now we'll have to see how it works. You can see how bad it's gone for Domi. He's dropped into 7th place, but he's now set the fastest lap of the race. The mediums are the one to be on, and he's got temperature in his tyres. Everyone else will be desperately rushing to try and heat up their tyres. We'll have to see what Domi can do as surface, and Dario battling. Dario gets himself back up into 5th place, and Gwil, somehow in all this, has worked his way up into 4th, but has that penalty hanging over him. Caden and Boss come in. Interestingly, Caden going for the soft tyres. He's wanting that extra bit of grip in the early stages. Could be the right decision. But look at Liam, he's trying to go down the inside into the tunnel here. This will be a fantastic move.
Oh, he's just got cut off there, though, as Lee Finley looks to just try and close that door. Sorry, it took the camera a long time to get there. That's on me. But we just saw the end of that. Lee Finley defending hard there. So Liam's actually up to 2nd place. Gamer now in 3rd. So Williams obviously gained the advantage by being at the end of the pit lane. And Liam has reaped the fruits there, the benefits of that one, as Lee Finley gets all out of shape in towards the entrance, in towards Raskas there. Just about gathers it up as Liam is now hot on his tails there. This is going to be the longest 15 laps Lee Finley is going to go through here. Liam looks up for this one just as Gamer was in those intermediate conditions. That Williams is looking for his 2nd race win of the season. Last race win at the Chinese Grand Prix. At the last 2 races for him. 8th place in the Netherlands, 5th place last time out at the Spanish Grand Prix. How he'd love to be back onto the top step of the podium to get that form back on track. Gamer, meanwhile, looking for a move down the inside. Not going to happen there for the Red Bull. And I have to say, for Gamer here, he's gone through the entire season so far. Best finish of 7th place last time out of the Spanish Grand Prix. What a time to get 3rd place here at arguably one of the most difficult circuits to do well at.
Yeah, definitely. Had a great qualifying. Obviously taking pole position. Just been a bit unlucky. Yes, you could say he might have started on the intermediate tyres, but I think if I was at the lead of this race, I'd have wanted to be on the wets and just hope that they can hold on, and just getting a bit unlucky with a pit stop with Liam, but he'll still be happy with 3rd place. He'll be hoping to stay up with these guys, and I'm wondering if I saw a bit of front wing there, if it was just a bit of debris already on the track, because it does look like everyone still has their end plates, which is good to see. Don't think it'll be too long before Gwil's joining the back of this battle, and Dario looks to be showing some fantastic pace as well at the moment.
And of course, with DRS now online, it's a very short DRS straight, of course, down towards Sandavot. But every little helps there as we now make our way up Beau Rivage once again for the 26th time. 14 laps to go here at the Monaco Grand Prix, and it is Finley leading the way. Gamer keeping Liam on his toes here. It's a 3-way battle for that lead. Gwil, then championship leader, does have a penalty looming over his head, but he'll just be hoping that he can keep up with these 3 and see what happens. Sometimes at Monaco, just putting the pressure on the car ahead is enough to get yourself that position. You just never know. All you can do, Luke, is just just drive as hard and as fast as you can with those walls ever looming to catch you out.
The driver who's doing that best at the moment is Davio. Last lap, he did a 1:15.2. None of the front four ahead of him have even managed to do a 1:16 during this race. He's so quick at the moment, but now he's hit the train all of a sudden. Can he use that tyre temperature? We're seeing Boss with a 1:14. Lee Finley is taking it really steady at the moment, and who can blame him? Who can blame him? This is what you do at Monaco when you're in the lead. You dial it down a few percent because you know how difficult it is for anyone to overtake. You know Liam's not going to throw a move on you because if it goes wrong, he could drop down to 5th place. We saw it go wrong for his teammate earlier on. Can Lee Finley hold on? 13 laps to go, a third of the race, the front 5 separated by less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, Lee Finley holding on for dear life at this moment in time as we now make our way up Beau Rivage and then in towards Massenet and Casino. Once again, it's no point trying to keep up with the fastest lap of this race so far. It's changing hands every second, but it's currently with Johan there with that 1:13, and Gamer taking an interesting line going in towards the top of Mirabeau there. He drifts to the middle of the circuit and then cuts back across to take the apex there. It's just trying to find a different line that asks the drivers ahead a question. They'll see you in your mirrors. They'll see that red arrow emerge from the right hand side. It's just trying to get some sort of reaction out of them that might just open the door. It's an interesting strategy, it's an interesting tactic from Gamer, but it's one that does work. Boss then, 1:12.6, you can see how quickly the track is evolving. We saw 67 seconds around here, just under 68 seconds for pole position time. We're now setting 72-second lap times here around the streets of Monte Carlo on the medium tyres too, as the top 3 tackle Larascas for the 27th time here in Monte Carlo. Now going through Anthony Nogues and Liam here once again trying to find his way past Lee Finley. Now, of course, the big difference here, of course, DRS is now enabled, which helps slightly here at Monte Carlo, but as I said, every little helps. The ERS is now going to be critical because it's not going to be used in the same way as it was in the wet weather conditions. You're not harvesting the levels of energy you were in those wet weather conditions, so you've got to be sparse with your deployment, but you've got to be wise about how you save up that energy as well. So that's going to be one for the drivers to tackle. But the top 5 there, right in that picture, as they all tackle the Grand Hotel hairpin.
Yeah, all heading around that hairpin, all managing to avoid each other. And let's not forget, you're using more ERS now because you want to put that extra hybrid energy down because you're touching tarmac, not water, on top of that. So Boss, 1:11.097. He's flying around at the moment. Aero's come in and put soft tyres on. I think part of that might have been to serve a penalty as well. I'm not too sure, but he's just going to try and get the fastest lap now. Felt like he was struggling a bit on the mediums. Still carrying on, Lee, still doing what he's done all race since everyone else came in. I think it was about lap 5 or lap 6. He's been in the lead and not really made any major mistakes at the moment. Liam came very close to getting ahead of him at one point and quickly found the door slammed shut in his face. Will he get another opportunity, or will that be the best chance he has? Can Gamer get involved in this? Can Will somehow manage to find his way onto the podium? Let's not forget, he really struggled in qualifying, only in 11th.
Yep, 11 laps to go here in Monte Carlo, and Lee Finley still holding on to the lead of this race, but your top 5 are separated there by less than 2 seconds. It's great to see here on the streets of Monte Carlo, and what it of course means is there's pressure all around here. All those drivers there just feeling that pressure. They know that one mistake could be the end of their Monaco Grand Prix. It could be as simple as that, as Boss gets a move done there. Boss now ahead of Caden Forbes as they were making their way down towards Saint-Devote. And obviously we've already seen that inside of the Nouvelle Chicane on the very entry there, that little bit of orange barrier there. Catch out one driver in Blizzard, catching his rear left tyre as he sent him for a spin. He's currently there in 9th place actually, so he's done well to recover so far, but he's 17.8 behind the next car in Johan for 8th place, so he'll just be hoping damage limitation as far as possible. 10 laps to go here in Monaco. Finley holding on still on Liam as we make our way up by Rivage for the 30th time here in Monte Carlo.
Yes, still Liam all over the back of Lee. Gamer all over the back of Liam as well. Oh, we've got yellow flags. Oh, Boss is around. I know Caden was nearby as well, but I think that was just completely Boss on his own spinning it around, so he's able to carry on. We've had no retirements, which is absolutely fantastic given the changeable conditions that we've seen. I wonder if Blizzard will need to keep an eye over his shoulder for Aero, who sets the fastest lap. as I say that, he's just flying around at the moment on those soft tyres. He could be one to watch at the end of this race, just to maybe get ahead of Blizzard as Liam closes up to Lee, but again, not close enough, avoiding the inside of that chicane as Wheel nearly lost it there on the exit of the chicane. I wonder if there was just a bit of a tap from Dario.
I think there was, yeah, going in towards that Nouvelle chicane. I think there was that slight bit of love tap between Dario and Guil there, but no love lost between them. Don't think there's any damage to that front wing of the McLaren as they now round the last corner of Anthony Nogues once again for the 30th time on towards that short and sharp start-finish straight. We have 9 laps to go. Lee Finley's picked up a penalty. What? 3 seconds added now. Well, that's multiple track limit warnings that'll be for. And that third one has now changed the context of this race completely. Liam, I wonder how long that message is going to get from him to his engineer. That Lee Finley has that penalty. Lee Finley here, he might have just shot himself in the foot with this one.
It's very possible. Liam and Gamer are only 1 warning away, and Guil has that 5 seconds as well. And now they're starting to push a bit hard. Dirty air might be a bit more of a factor just because of how much faster they are going and because of how much downforce you put on the car as well to get around the streets of Monaco. It's very possible we could see a few more penalties pop up as well for some drivers as they try to go for manoeuvres here. Quite often I've tried manoeuvres into the hairpin sometimes with the strict corner cutting. It's almost impossible to pass there without getting yourself a warning. So if Liam and Gamer want to try that as Dario now picks up a penalty, they're going to have to be careful now. Lee's already got the penalty, so in a way he can afford to take 2 more warnings and get away with it as long as he doesn't overstep the mark 3 times. But this could really change everything. He's going to have to push like mad at the moment. Surely they'll all be asking Jeff what the penalty situation is like, because if I was Liam and I found out Lee had the 3 second more penalties than me, I'd just be staying right on his rear wing and not really going for a move that I don't need to make.
Well, that's it. That's the great case, isn't it? But you've got to make sure that Lee Finley then doesn't go 3 seconds clear. Yellow flags in Sector 3. This is Aero who's now spinning himself around at Raskas on those soft tyres, and he now spins his way. Well, he actually tried to spin it into the pit lane, but has now hit the wall there as he now tries to get it into that pit lane. He's going to have to chuck it into reverse once again, and that was a possible point-scoring finish for the Racing Point here. He might have just thrown that away as Aero has retired from the session, and he only becomes the first retirement here of the Monaco Grand Prix. Well, with Lee Finley grabbing that 3 second time penalties, obviously Finley doesn't feel there's enough twists and turns at Monaco. He feels he needs to add his own.
Either add his own or possibly get rid of some of them, making the chicane a bit simpler, making Sandovort a bit simpler as well. So thankfully Aero's car retiring in the pits won't cause any late VSC or late safety cars. And I'll tell you what, these front 3 are just getting away from Guil ever so slightly. The AlphaTauri didn't have DRS last time around. Probably not too much of a problem for him because he's got his IGK stablemate Dario behind him, but definitely something to watch out for because Dario's got close to the back of him before, and you can see again he's all over the back of the AlphaTauri at the moment. Just manages to hold station for now, but he's pretty much pushing him around Mirabeau.
Well, here we go then in towards the Grand Hotel hairpin, down in towards the lower half of Mirabeau, and now we make our way towards Portier. Lee Finley holding on to the lead of this race, but the race will shuffle as they cross the checkered flag. This could be Liam's chance to grab his 2nd race win of the season and propel himself up the table, up on 54 points going into this race. What a huge 25 points that could be for Liam, and what a huge 25 points it will be for Williams to try and get themselves further up the table. Those grey clouds really haven't gone away from the circuit at the moment. They're always threatening up above here as we now make our way in towards Raskas. As you can see there, Dario is trying to get past. He knows he's quick around here. He's trying to capitalise on his win last time out at the Spanish Grand Prix, and we've seen he's supremely quick on these dry tyres. It's just got nowhere to put it at the moment. He's right behind Guil. Now we head up Beau Rivage. But of course, we've got a battle for the lead here. Liam looking at the back of Lee Finley once again, heading in towards Massenet. Just nowhere to put that front wing, nowhere to just peek a nose down the inside to see if he can try and find a gap there on Lee Finley. Nothing doing so far as they head in towards Mirabeau. But Surface there has got his way past Dario. And after all of that, Dario trying to find his way past, Surface has managed to capitalise on that. The Renault is now up to 5th place.
Yeah, there was definitely a bit of wheel banging between them, but that's sometimes what you've got to do at Monaco. Passes at any other circuits that would be controversial. At Monaco, that might be the only way through. Great opportunistic move by Surface. I just switched away from them. I imagine he saw the door open and thought, you know what, I've got to take it sooner rather than later. He gets that move done. Caden and Boss battling as well for what is now the final points position after Aero retired. This would be a great performance from Caden after missing qualifying, not thinking that he'd be able to attend if he can get a point in this race. But still 6 laps to go for those drivers. Lee Findlay just about to start lap 35. He's still in the lead of this race. Can he hang on to take the victory out on track? And will that 3-second time penalty cost him?
Well, 5 laps to go here. We are not far away at all from finding out who is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix. Will Lee Findlay grab his first race win of the season? Will Liam grab his second? Or is there a late cards here for Gamer to get not only his best finish of the season, having been 5th before, getting up the order? We've got a Williams around a Raskas, and that is Blizzard once again, who's found the walls, and once again he's got damage on his front wing. Surely now he'll just try and go to the end of the race. I was just having a look at the fastest lap of this race. That is currently with Aero, who was on the soft tyre before he retired from this race, and since he has retired with the fastest lap to his name so far, there's not going to be that bonus point. But I can be proven wrong in the last couple of laps. It might be worth a chance for Blizzard or Boss to see if they can pit in for some soft tyres and try and grab an extra point where it matters.
Yeah, possibly even Johan as well, but just depending on the penalty situation, he might think I can gain a few places here. I think if Blizzard pitted now, he'd probably come out behind Boss and Caden. He'd be extremely fast, but as we've seen already, we saw with Davio how quickly he caught up to the back of Guil and everyone else. You can't use that pace at Monaco if you're stuck behind someone, because it is going to be so hard to overtake. Guil definitely dropping back from the top 3 cars now. He's nearly 3 seconds coming up Beaurivage. You can barely see the front 3 at the moment. Lee Findlay, though, again, he spent most of this race. His mirrors full of Gamer earlier on, and at the moment they're full of Liam, as Gamer just shows his nose again coming into mirror boat. It's a bit like in touring cars where you see them flashing the lights. That it's just to distract the driver in front and maybe make them lose a bit of focus.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you need to do here at Monaco. Anything you can use to put the driver off their focus, put their driver off the tunnel vision, no pun intended. It's as much as strategy as anything else, but Findlay still leads the way with that 3-second penalty looming over him. We'll have to see how that shakes up the order when they get to the checkered flag, with only 4 laps to go, 3 and a bit if you're picky. It's Lee Findlay leading the way then as he makes his way through that second part of the swimming pool section. Now on towards Raskas for the 36th time in this race. Trying to get the exit there. He's swung the back end round there to try and get that straight line that he needs up towards Anthony Noakes as he now starts the 37th lap of this race. 3 to go here in Monte Carlo.
Yeah, it's anyone's guess who's going to take it out on track. Lee's done a fantastic job at the moment. You feel like Liam and especially Gamer might just go for this at some point soon. Guil just still hanging on from Surface at the moment. Davio's dropped back ever so slightly. Don't think he's got any major damage at least. Got to say, Domi and Johan have done a pretty good job, especially when you consider Domi pitted onto those dry tyres probably a lap early and did a fantastic job to just hold on to the car. We saw Blizzard sliding all over the place, and it's definitely been a race to forget for the man second in the championship. But we know what Blizzard's like. He'll be back stronger next time out in Azerbaijan. His teammate, though, still putting Lee under all sorts of pressure. 2.5 laps to go. Is he going to just go for one move? Is he going to have that one possibility? Because at the moment, Lee's just been absolutely fantastic in that Mercedes, showing the form that I think we probably expected to see more of this season.
Yes, but he's got that 3-second penalty looming over him. So far, it will be enough to grab him 3rd place, regardless of other penalties or excluding other penalties that we may have around the standings. Penultimate lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. Findlay still leads out on track. Liam is doing everything he can. He wants to win this out on track. You can win it on penalties and take the glory there, but I'm sure Liam will want to win this out on track and be the first car to that checkered flag, making his way through Casino and now down Down the hill we go towards the top of Mirabeau. And again, Gamer looking and just trying to put both cars ahead of him off their rhythm, as now they make their way in towards the hairpin. Now we go into the lower half of Mirabeau as we now make our way towards Portier. And Findlay, he's just done such a great job in keeping the car on the track, which is exactly what you need to do at Monaco. And unfortunately, there's just been 3 times where he's just pushed those track limits a little bit too far as we make our way in towards the Nouvelle chicane. And still the top 3 separated. You could throw a blanket over them and it would cover them all as they now make their way in towards Tabac.
Yeah, he's still hanging on. He's done an absolutely fantastic job starting on the intermediate tyres, clearly proving to be an inspired decision for him, even if he ends up losing this win on penalties. But just one more lap to go. Is Lee going to take the victory? Liam getting a bit sideways there out of Anthony Noakes. Is Gamer going to be close enough to send one down the inside? No, just not quite. Next chance, possibly into Mirabeau, possibly into the hairpin. You've got to say Gamer's looking a bit more likely to pass Liam than Liam is to pass Lee at this moment in time, but they are running out of time. I think it is going to end up with Lee being first man across the line unless we see a mistake being made, as we've got yellow flags. I think that's Blizzard who's made a mistake once again. Now he does need to be careful because Boss and Caden aren't exactly too far behind.
No, and he's got that damaged front wing already, so he just needs to try and limp home now to that checkered flag. Wheel, meanwhile, I think he's just settling for 4th place here. He doesn't want to push too hard. He's got a big amount of points over Blizzard as we head towards the checkered flag. But here we are then on the final lap through the Nouvelle chicane. One last time, we tackle Tabac. That fast left-hander, chuck it in one more time and hope that the car steers on the other side. Heading our way now through the swimming pool section on towards Rascasse we go. The Mercedes is leading the way. Dario has fallen to trouble in the last lap of this race. Meanwhile then, Lee Findlay rounds Anthony Noakes for the first time. He'll take the checkered flag, but what are the penalties going to be like? Lee Findlay crosses the line first, but it's going to be Liam who takes his 2nd race win of the season here on the streets of Monte Carlo. He hasn't had a race win since the Chinese Grand Prix, but he's come to Monaco and taken the race win. Gamer in 2nd place there. That's his best finish of the season, previously being 5th at the Spanish Grand Prix last time out. Lee Findlay grabs a podium here. It could have been a race win, but for that penalty, that held him back. That's still his best result of the season. It's his first podium of the season as well. Domi finishing in 4th place there. Johan, really good points for himself and for Ferrari as he finishes in 5th place. Surface, inspired performance from him, trying to make moves left, right and centre. He finishes in 6th place. Championship leader going into this race. Championship leader leaving Monaco. Guil in 7th place. Dario finishing in 8th place. Blizzard weaves his way across the line left and right with no front wing whatsoever. Crosses the line in 9th place. Boss rounds out the top 10 and gets that final points paying position. And it's going to be Caden Forbes there who slowly makes his way towards the line, lighting up the tyres as he makes his way through on towards the checkered flag. But your race winner today, Liam, with his 2nd race win of the season, wins on the streets of Monte Carlo. And your driver of the day, driver of the day, Lee Findlay, couldn't take the race win, got that penalty, and made that strategy work to a T. And unfortunately today, it's only good enough for 3rd place. But what a race, Luke, we had.
Absolutely fantastic race. Liam managing to keep it clean, getting rewarded. And again, inclement weather conditions, he seems to be the one to beat this season, taking a victory in China and taking a victory here. And you wait ages for an AOR F1 win. He's had 2 in the first 7 races of this season. Could he well be a title challenger when it comes to the end of the season? Guil didn't have the best race, dropping down the order, but he had that 5-second penalty. Might be able to get it removed, and Blizzard obviously struggling as well. The fantastic podium that I don't think any of us would have called, probably before, even after qualifying, I don't think we'd have got that top 3 right.
Well, your official, unofficial results then for the Monaco Grand Prix. It is Liam who grabs his 2nd race win of the season, with Gamer getting his best finish of 2nd place. Lee Findlay also his best position of the season, finishing in 3rd place. It's Domi in 4th with Johan in 5th, Surface in 6th with Guil in 7th, Dario in 8th, Blizzard in 9th, and Boss rounds out the top 10. Caden Forbes in 11th as the last of the finishers. Aero got the fast lap of the race, but didn't finish in the race and didn't finish inside the top 10, so no bonus point for the fast lap of the race will be awarded here for the Monaco Grand Prix. It's such a shame, Luke, that we're on a week break next week, because I love that one.
Yeah, an absolutely fantastic race. We saw drama involving everyone. Blizzard making 2 real costly mistakes, breaking his front wing the first time around, and obviously that spin at the Nouvelle Chicane. When he was running it in 3rd place, he could have been up there maybe challenging for the victory. But, ifs and buts and all that. Great performance by Liam. He managed to keep it clean, and Lee Findlay must be ruining that penalty. But it's great to see him returning to form, getting his first podium of the season. This should give him a bit more confidence. Same with Gamer as well. Getting a pole position at Monaco, always an extremely hard thing to do. And he was rewarded with his first podium of the year as well.
Well, what a race we had here on the streets of Monte Carlo. Don't forget, our next race, we have a week break before we're back racing on the streets of Azerbaijan on the 1st of November. Of course, we go back to Greenwich Mean Time in Britain, so we'll be going back an hour, but I'm sure we'll be back with the action in those 2 weeks' time. But Luke, it's been great to be alongside you in the commentary box. We saw some fantastic action at Monaco, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying at the start of this race, but that rain at the start really did throw the cat among the pigeons.
That's why Bernie Eccleston wanted sprinklers in Formula 1. You've just seen it right there. Look at what happens. We saw mistakes from a few drivers. Lee getting rewarded with driver of the day as well, winning out on track because he was brave enough. And I said, there's a fine line between genius and stupidity. Fair play, Lee. It was genius.
It was genius. It was absolutely genius. And thank you all for watching as well this Monaco Grand Prix. It's great to see so many of you turning up and getting involved in the racing action and in the comments as well. Great to see that. Hopefully you will join us in 2 weeks' time for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. But don't forget, there's plenty of racing action on Xbox and PC to go and enjoy. So go head over there right now for the rest of the races this evening. But Luke, your final thoughts on today's Monaco Grand Prix?
Unbelievable, surprising, and just all round great.
There you go then. Well, we'll see you then at the Azerbaijani Grand Prix on the 1st of November. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley.
I've been Luke Etheridge.
Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time.